When you work in, especially in the environment that I work in, I'm also in management. So, and oftentimes we find that in management, we have more men in management than women. So for me, for example, I think there's just only 2 women, in the management meeting of maybe about 11 people. So maybe you have 10 men. And the thing with men is, when there's more of them, they understand each other's language. Immediately they just flow. So if you're a woman, it feels like you have to sort of shout, raise your voice, do something extra just to get noticed. So as a woman, sometimes there's a tendency to just want to just disappear in the meeting. And so oftentimes it feels like, don't you have an idea? Don't you have any brilliant ideas? So as a woman, I'm always having to remind myself to speak up and be present. There's a temptation to just, the men are talking, because you don't see them as men, you just see them as your colleagues. But the bias behind it oftentimes is, at the end of the day, if you're not conscious, it will always seem as only the men have something bright to say. So as a woman, especially if you're outnumbered, you cannot afford to be pressing your phone. Sometimes I'm pressing my phone and I realize, hey, look, you're the only woman here. You have to assert yourself. Your voice has to be heard, and it's a conscious thing. It really shouldn't be, but unfortunately, that's the way it is. If you go to management everywhere, you find more men. So that pressure, it's a lot of pressure as a woman. That pressure you put on yourself, and that pressure also from the men there, because oftentimes if you're not careful, they will turn you into the tea lady. Oh, who's going to get tea for us? Who's going to take the notes? Who's going to be the secretary? And it's often you. So you have to have some certain level of asserting yourself to be able to say, just because I'm the only woman here doesn't mean I'm going to take notes or handle the refreshments and all of that. So if you're not present, that's what your role will eventually become. So that pressure, sometimes it's just a lot as a woman. It's really, if I don't have anything to say, I should not. But sometimes I have to think you have to have something to say because you're the only woman here. And if you constantly are the one who doesn't have anything to say, you'll be taking notes, you'll be the one handling refreshments. And really, that should not be my role. I'm an equal to everyone here. But as a woman, it's important to assert yourself. And so that pressure is sometimes a lot that I find. Well, how have I been able to handle it, balance everything that I do? Basically, I take things in bite sizes. I seldom get overwhelmed, meaning if I need to take a break, I will take a break. But I love doing a lot of things as well. So I love writing. I love being on air. I love doing all the things I do. I also love to spend a lot of time with my kids because I find that I want to pour a lot of me inside them. Life already pours a lot of things inside of them, so I want a lot of me inside of them. So what I do is I take things in bite sizes. I try not to get overwhelmed with everything or do everything at once. They always say that how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. So if I want to be a mom now, I'm going to shut everything else down and be a mom. If I'm at work, thank God for my support system as well. I have a great support system. My husband is great with the kids. I have an amazing nanny, so if I'm at work, I'm focused on work. So I'm usually very focused. So I try to just take things one bite at a time, not do too much at the same time. And if I need to take a break, I do just that. Lara's Lessons is a book of life lessons, basically for adolescents. Obviously, when I was writing it, I had adolescent girls in mind, but I've been amazed at how many parents have bought it for their boys, and even they have learned a lot. And I realized that it's a book not just for adolescent girls, for adolescent boys, but life lessons about being your authentic self, life lessons about being kind, life lessons that generally I believe every young person should know before they get to a certain age. There are lots of 30-year-olds, 40-year-olds who are conflicted, who are struggling with things that they ought to have learned in their teens. People are aspiring to be like me. Don't be like me. Don't aspire to be like me. Aspire to be your best self. And that's what I tell everyone. Whether I mentor you or I don't, if you give me an avenue to talk, I'm talking about how I've been in my career for this long and I've stayed this long and stayed this loved because I've been my authentic self. I'm not pretending to be who I'm not. I'm not trying to put up a front, and it's been like that from the beginning. And I feel like initially, I'm one of those, I used to be one of those, I just got back. I moved back from the UK to Ibadan. And so people were like, oh, is she faking an accent? Is she trying to be what she's not? Is she trying to bring Lagos to Ibadan? So people were suspicious initially, but when they realized that 1 year, 2 years, you can't fake for a long time, and that's the thing. So if you're faking it, drop the act, because people will be able to out you. So once they realize, okay, oh wow, that's who she is, I think that for me is my biggest selling point, my personality, the fact that I am who I am and I'm not changing for anybody. Find your authentic self, love her, love him, and cut out anyone who doesn't love that. Continue to evolve, pick ideas from different places, evolve, and just be your best self. That's usually my advice.